What's up, guys? Retro here, and I'm going to be doing something a little new on the channel that I have not done in the past. I'm going to start to do reviews, and I'm going to start off with an easy one for myself so I can learn the ropes. But I'm going to be reviewing the Super Nintendo classic Lemmings. It's a puzzle game, and when I think of Super Nintendo classic, Super Nintendo, like fond memories I had as a kid, fond memories of the system, this is up there. Now, I'm not saying it's one of the best games on the system, but for me personally, I would rent this sucker all the time. In fact, this was one of the very first games I rented as a kid, that I remember renting at least. And we're going to get into it. We're going to see what I like and what I don't like. Show you guys some gameplay footage and just my overall feelings on the game. Let's get right into it. Okay, guys, so here's Lemmings. So just a little information. Lemmings is a puzzle platformer video game originally developed by DMA Design, later known as Rockstar North, the guys who made GTA. And first published by Psygnostic for the Amiga, Atari ST, and PC in 1991. The Super Nintendo port came out in March of 1992. Lemmings are small, green-haired people dressed in blue who walk straight ahead until they hit a wall. More often than not, they walk directly into their doom, and it is the player's duty to protect them by giving special orders, like climbing, digging, or building bridges. And there's also a lot of other abilities too that they have. They have the climbers, the parachuters, the bombers, the blockers, the builders, like I said, the bashers, which they bash through the walls if they're able to, the umbrellas, and then the diggers, as I said. Now you also can make all the lemmings explode all at once. Let's say you have your blockers out and they're the only lemmings left. You have to get rid of them so you can actually explode them all at once. It's kind of cool. Now let's talk about the graphics. The graphics are bright and colorful. They're not detailed or realistic at all, which is fine for this game. It is meant to be a game based on gameplay and how to win the game. So it's very PC, really. The lemmings themselves are very, very pixely, very small on the screen, and hard to tell what they are. But that's kind of the charm of those little guys. Still, the game and the graphics, they fit well together. The graphics go very well with this game. It doesn't take away from it at all. If you were to compare the graphics on the Super Nintendo to the PC games, they don't line up, but they get the job done. That's fine. It doesn't take away from the fun factor of this game at all. Next, we're going to talk about the controls. The controls, this is a very, very easy game to pick up and learn. There's not that large of a learning curve, and honestly, if you learn how to navigate the D-pad / cursor, you're good to go. All you need to learn is the A button to select the abilities, the different abilities for the lemmings, and also selecting the lemmings, kind of like what I'm doing right here. I selected that blocker, and he's doing the action I want him to, and I'm going to select again here, and and that's all you do. Now, the trick is learning how to pick the correct ability for the stage. Now, with some stages like this, they're teaching you how to use the blockers, and I'm showing you basically the tutorial levels that teach you how to play the game, but there are much harder levels, and sometimes you gotta explore how to do the right thing, explore which abilities work, which ones don't, and that's a lot of fun in the later levels. One other little function, you see the plus and minus sign, and it has 99 above it. That controls the output speed of the Lemmings in the beginning of the level, and that's a big factor. Now you see here my Lemmings are about to explode, and this is one of my favorite things in the game. Boom! Alright, next I'm going to talk about the music and the sound effects. First of all, I gotta say I love the music. I love it. Really, the only reason I do is it brings me back to my childhood and those first few days with the Super Nintendo. The music is very simple and very SNESy, if that makes any sense. Very Super Nintendo, and I love it. It is enjoyable to a degree, but it can get tiresome after some playing for longer than an hour. But it goes great with being a puzzle game. Now the sound effects, they're not mind-blowing, but again, they fit well with this game and this style of game. And one of my favorite things, the sound effects of the Lemmings blowing up. I love it. It just, every time I hear it, I love it. And very minimal sound effects in this game, and that's fine. That's fine. We're not playing an RPG or even, a Mario game or whatever, and it fits perfect. Very well into this game. Now, as far as my rating on this game, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. And here are some of my closing thoughts on the game. Gameplay is king here. I love the challenge of the later levels and how it progressively gets harder. It lets you learn the game. It kind of holds your hand a little bit, but you get to experience it. You get to experiment, and it gets more and more difficult as you go. I also like the password system for easy access to the last level that you're on. It's not super cumbersome to put that thing back in, but it's not as bad as some other games, especially on the NES. Now, some things that aren't so great about this game, the graphics. Like I said earlier, the graphics are nothing to write home about, but they don't take away from the fun factor. Also, some of the soundtracks, man, they're very Super Nintendo-y, early Super Nintendo-y, but they can get a bit old sometimes, and the sound effects too. This game, it does hold a lot of nostalgia for me. Nostalgia, however you say that word. Because this was honestly one of the first games I rented on the system. I rented this and Mario Kart, and believe it or not, we actually got the Super Nintendo without Super Mario. So we had to rent on Christmas Day. I remember my mom and dad, they rented 3 games, and this is one of them, and I'm glad they did. And actually, I picked this game up a little bit later, and I never actually owned it until I was an adult. But I remember renting this thing all the time. I love it. Now, I highly recommend recommend this game if you're into puzzle games, or if you're a huge Lemmings fan. So that about wraps it up on Lemmings. Like I said, this ranks up there as some of my favorite Super Nintendo games, early Super Nintendo games. Fond memories with my brother, just playing this thing. There's a lot of challenge in it as well, and it's one of the more unique Super Nintendo games out there, in my opinion. And if you haven't played it, give it a whirl. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of versions of this out there. I believe there's one on the PlayStation that you can find. It's a little bit pricey, but it's out there. Easy to find. And no, I believe it's on the PlayStation Network. And give it a whirl. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about Lemmings. Let me know what you think about this review. Give me a like, guys. Thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. And guys, I'm going to be doing some more reviews. So this is new for me, but I'm learning. And we'll start from here. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.